The more I listen to people and the more I continue with this platform of mine, the more I continue to arrive at the conclusion that anytime someone claims to give you advice, if that shit involves you acting or treating someone negatively, the less you should probably take it. Like, for the most part, it's like people out here are busy trying to advise people to be bad. How the hell does that make sense? How do you advise someone to be bad? Like, it's a little bit weird though. Although people seem to be passing on this form of advice, and apparently for some reason it's really been picking up steam. But that is something that I'm going to dispute in a bit and at least try and give, some healthier, better advice out here. But before I can do that, where are my manners? I should have started with an intro. Welcome to the Breakdown Podcast, where I talk about love, sex, and relationships from a guy's perspective, as well as a bunch of other guy shit. The man on the mic is Sir Denver B. This is a shorter, less edity, no instrumentally version of the podcast, which is usually put up to signify that I'm on break. So yeah, considering that I'm not doing the full episodes, this is basically me just kind of taking some time off, just allowing myself to get some R&R so that I don't have to stress on making content time after time after time. So that when I come back, I can be presenting the content, feeling a lot more refreshed and ready to take on whatever it is that people on the internet and out here in these streets have to say. And in this particular episode, I am actually dealing with a case of someone from out here in these streets saying something that I just have to, critique and resolve because people out here are being advised poorly. Now, the person in question is actually a lady by the name of Diana Mbula, who is an influencer on IG, who was busy talking about, dating younger men, older women dating younger men. And she was supposedly giving some tips and advice. Now, I saw this clip not too long ago on my IG and I figured, I might as well take a look at it. But before I can speak on it, let me first let the clip play, then I can give my thoughts on it. So, without further ado...
Niliwapea rules za kudate vijana wadogo amtaki kusikia. Shida yenu inakuanga nini? I told you it's not bad to be old and date small boys, but there are rules. There are rules. Niliwambia huku nje ni game. Why don't you people listen? One rule that should never change, as much as wewe ndo the old woman dating a young dude ama an old man dating a young woman, it is the responsibility of a man to love a woman. It doesn't matter the age. It is a man's responsibility. Ataka we ni bibi ya mtu sahi, ataka muko na bwana, acha hizi mavitu za lavidavi all the time. Oh, I love you baby, I love you baby. Say it once a year. The rest of the year you should just be a threat to that relationship. Men don't operate on certainty. You don't need to tell wanaume are operating at kila saa lazima ushinde umemwambia, oh baby, but I love you baby, but I love you. Utateswa. It's weakness to them. It's weakness na hiyo to them inawaambia udem ako desperate, so mimi nezenda tu hanya huko nje, nitakuwa nakuja home nikitoka Thursday na kuja Sunday. Watakudharau. You should be Simba. You should be a threat to the person you're dating. Hizi mambo za lavidavi excess, you're gonna kiss a lot of us. Nimeambia wanawake wazee amsikiangi. Date young men ni sawa. Date young men but no, they're coming for your self-esteem. Na mtapigwa. Mtapigwa, mtatusiwa. They will leave you with nothing. Because to them, if you show a man that you love them, if you love them, if you take that responsibility of loving a man, alafu wendo unaanza kuprovide kila kitu, the money and everything, wanaichukwanga wewe say you're a career, like when ATM card, when career. It's not love. It's not love. It does not reciprocate to love on their sides. Haikwangi love, ni career na watakutumia vibaya. Watakutumia vibaya na wabaki wamekumaliza. They will finish you.
Okay. So, she says that, it's a game out here and she gave some supposed sorts of tips and tricks on what it is that you're supposed to do if you're an older woman trying to date a younger man. And, okay, can I say that what she said was true or correct? Okay, personally, I don't know what kind of toxic shits that y'all are doing out here. I don't know what sort of toxic relationships or situationships y'all are having out here, but golly, getting to the point where it's like, you have to make sure that you're a threat to the dude. Goodness my. If that doesn't sound like some of the worst advice, if you can even call it advice for that matter, I don't know what is. But anyways, let's see what it is that she said. All right. From what I could gather, what she gave is more or less, give or take, maybe 2 tips. And this is really, really stretching it, because the second one is more or less like the first tip extended. All right. So what she was saying was that it's a man's responsibility to love a woman. So you say, I love you like once, maybe max twice a year, and then the rest of the time you remain a threat. And it is kind of interesting whenever you see people trying to pull the don't show them that you love them, don't tell them that you love them, so that, they can do the best they can to get that out of you. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like that's probably some of the most emotionally restrictive garbage I've seen. Like, you're choosing to be with someone that you feel should be your safe space, that you really, really want to be with, that you like so much. And then as you're doing all of that, you can't go ahead and tell them that you love them. You can't go ahead and tell them that you have deep feelings for them or you really care about them. Like, you're just supposed to be a threat and just hope that she does, or should I say, just hope that he does everything in his power to, show his love, because that's his responsibility. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this is very wrong for 2 reasons. Because one, if you're with someone that you believe should be your safe space, and I'm looking at it as like an actual serious relationship, if you're choosing to be with someone who's your safe space, who you should feel vulnerable with, then why the hell do you have to hold back talking about how you feel towards them and, expressing the fact that they mean a lot to you? Like, that just sounds like you're desperate to stay in the relationship and you're not comfortable enough in that relationship to express exactly how you feel. That's the first part. Secondly, these are young niggas. All right. Sorry. These are young men. Apparently, I was told I should stop using niggas. These are young men. These are young men that have chosen, or at least this is a young man who has chosen to be with you. You refuse to show him love, he'll probably just conclude that whatever it is that you guys are doing is probably just for the pussy or just for the sex and for the enjoyment. And the moment he finds a younger babe or a different babe, it doesn't even have to be younger or older, regardless, provided he can find a different babe that expresses that to him and he feels anywhere close to that for the babe, you're done. Dude is going to leave and move on to that one, because clearly you didn't seem like you loved him. On to the second point, the whole bit about them coming for your self-esteem, and they'll hit you and they will mistreat you and you'll suffer and you'll be left with nothing. Like, this is some of the same exact shit that I say kind of sounds like it just came from trauma. It came from stories and scenarios where there are young men that dated older women and just treated them like shit. And the truth of it is, that's not even the case. If anything, I believe most of the young men that date older women, the ones that actually choose to seriously date, not smash, seriously date, usually enjoy those sorts of relationships because, one, the babe is mature, so they're not nagging, they probably won't be on their case all the time, they aren't as clingy, and if they are, then there's usually a way that they work around it. And for the most part, because these babes have dealt with other dudes from other age ranges, which is older than them or around about the same age as them, they probably have some sort of understanding about guys and the fact that they need some free time. So they'll probably even tell you to go and spend some time with your boys when you guys are supposedly having some free time together, and she'll also go and chill. So it's not that big of an issue, and it's actually a lot better for some of them, and they claim that it's a lot better, as opposed to the whole wanting to take your self-esteem, being toxic and treating you like shit. Do some of them fuck around? Yes. That one I won't run away from. Yes, some of them do fuck around. But at the end of the day, like, when you look at the younger guys that date older women, it's usually not a case of them being particularly manipulative or just mistreating. Those relationships can actually happen pretty well. The problems that happen is stuff like external influence and maybe an issue that might affect the both of you, that comes down to how you guys communicate or how you guys may or may not respect each other. But anyways, let me not get ahead of myself, because when I looked at this clip, when I watched it, first of all, there was the bit where I was like, you know what, I feel like this babe is just giving people the worst advice ever. But then on the flip side, I was like, you know what, I can probably give better advice in this, not because, you know, I date older women, blah, blah, you know, this is something that I do, so I know the ins and outs and the nooks and crannies and shit. But it's more like, okay, yes, I might have some experience, and I know other people who've had experience in dating older women, and, you know, older women who have dated younger guys, and, you know, they have given their feedback on it. And I can probably give advice on how to date older women, or just older women dating younger guys, and that entire environment and situation in a much better way. And, you know, it'll be 100 times healthier than whatever garbage you've been fed from that woman. And, you know, it would actually be real, practical, realistic advice. And so I figured, you know what, let me come up with a list of my own. And then I thought about it and I realized I don't even have a long ass list. If I was to give pointers that would probably work as advice, I think I'd probably keep it short, and I'd stick to the things that you'd probably notice as easily and kind of apply across the board. So, armed with a little bit of knowledge and very minimal experience, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips. So, tip number 1 is there's a very high likelihood that you and him, or should I say your relationship with a guy, won't last very long. If you have this, the very first rule, as like an underlying baseline that's there, it'll probably save you from a lot of heartbreak. All right. It's just one of those phenomenons that's not as common in our society today, and the acceptance for it still hasn't been normalized. So while it might not be the LGBT and you dating someone from the same sex, it's still not something that is very highly promoted or accepted as much, not unless if there's some sort of unequal gain or some level of added incentive that's attached to it. And even then, it's still not expected to last all that long. It's not something that people expect to last years, so there's a good chance that the other party might not expect it to last like a decade or anything. But there are people who have managed to pull it off, and they've done particularly well. There is the story of the gospel artist Guardian Angel and the lady Esther Musila, who had a pretty massive gap, but they lasted. But when it comes down to it, the rule of thumb is the bigger the age gap, the lower the chances of you guys lasting all that long, at least as far as I've seen. So I could be wrong about that, but it's just something that you should probably keep in mind. Then the next tip that I would probably give the older women is you have to respect this man. You have to respect this man, this younger man, this supposed partner of yours, as though you're at least the same age, if not as if he is older than you or makes more than you do. Okay? And the reason I say this is because a lot of women, and I'd say more so those of today that are very driven by impulse and depend on emotion and shit, usually tend to respect a man based off of their capabilities. And while this works perfectly fine when it's a guy that's older than you that makes more than you, when it's a situation where the guy is younger than you and by default makes less than you, it becomes a lot harder to do that. So choosing to respect the guy, or just respecting the guy in general, will most probably have to be a very conscious effort from you. And if you manage to nail it, it'll actually have some really good benefits for you as far as the quality of the relationship. But if you do not manage to nail it down, it usually tends to be one of the main, if not the main reason why such relationships will actually fail. Because you not respecting that guy will usually be the main thing that undoes whatever it is that you guys are trying to have together, regardless of whether you wanted it to be short term or long term. Then, last but not least, I will remind you, and I feel like this one should be cut across the board, whether you're an older woman listening, whether you're the younger guy listening, I want you to know, whatever it is that you guys are doing, you're dating, the kind of dating that you're doing isn't traditional, so don't expect it to be. All right. The whole thing of the man has to be the provider, the protector, blah, blah, blah. The whole bit of, a woman is supposed to cook, clean, and do whatever it is. At the end of the day, those things work under certain traditional setups. Yours is not traditional. It's more liberal than that. And you guys will have to be able to adapt to what it is that you have. So as the older lady, there's a very good chance that you possibly will be earning more money, so you will have to carry the financial burden of the relationship for the both of you, at least to a point. As a guy, there's a good chance that you may have to take up more homely roles, or you will have to take a more emotionally strengthening role, because whatever it is that she could have gotten from another guy, she can probably get for herself. Because most of these older women, they're making good money, they're doing fairly okay for themselves. So it's not like they're looking for a guy to pay bills by the time they're choosing to date you. So be extremely mindful of their emotional state and their emotions. And remember that there are people just like me, you, and whatever other younger babe you'd have probably banged that's on IG. But all in all, I would also remind the younger men that the belief in dating older women just for sport and treating them disposably is actually a very sad thing, and you probably shouldn't do it. These are people with feelings just like you and me, and while you may not give too much of a flying damn about them for some reason or another, at the end of the day, you wouldn't want someone to treat you like shit just the same way you wouldn't want someone to treat any other woman that is close to you like shit, so you probably shouldn't be doing that to them. And if you feel like that's how it's going with you, then just drop the babe. Let her find someone that can actually treat her a lot better than you can. And to kind of conclude all of this, what I am going to say is that there's nothing wrong with dating an older woman, or if you are the older woman, dating a younger man. But your biggest issues internally and externally are going to seem fairly simple, but they are going to be particularly tough to deal with. So when you're looking at it internally, meaning within the relationship, respect is going to be your biggest issue, as well as understanding each other. If you can get through that, then great. Outside of the both of you, dealing with external opinions and handling the external pressure is probably going to be the biggest issue that may break you, if it's not going to be an internal issue. But provided that you guys can get through the both of those, you probably don't have anything that will be stopping the two of you, unless it's actually the two of you and whatever goals and values that you guys might have. Although then again, maybe I could be wrong, and probably there's way more issues that are affecting the two of you, and maybe one of you needs to treat the other like shit. Either way, I want your thoughts on it. The DMs are open. On IG, it is at the Breaktime_podcast. On Facebook, it is at the Breaktime Podcast. On X, it is at Bagak the D. And on Bluesky, it is at the breaktimepod.bsky.social. Thank you so much for listening all the way till the end, and I will catch you guys on the next break.